One moment, the feast was in full swing, and the guests were enjoying the performance of the Greek poet Simonides. And the next, the roof collapsed, crushing the lives of all those in the hall. Fortunately for the poet, he had been called out to receive a letter just mere seconds before the tragedy. Simonides closed his eyes to block out the chaos, amidst the rescue teams trying in vain to identify the corpses. And then, something remarkable happened. In his mind, the banquet hall was reassembled, and the tables were once more flowing with food and wine. In his mind, he saw again each person seated at the table. Simonides opened his eyes. He then approached the grief-stricken relatives and guided them one by one to where their beloved lay. That, according to legend, was when the art of memory was born. Master of Ceremonies, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. To many people, memorization and art don't go hand in hand. Memorization, after all, is repetitive. It's a forced activity, a painful drilling of data into your head, quite unlike the easy flow of painting, for example. This is because of the way our brains were formed. The Homo sapien brain was not made to absorb facts, figures, or formulas. It was more geared towards the things vital for survival. The caveman was good at learning spaces, like the location of the freshwater stream, and recognizing shapes, colors, and tastes to identify the edible fruit. But memorizing does not have to be difficult. It can be easy. It can be like art. All you need is something called a memory palace and your imagination and creativity. To demonstrate, say we had a list of things to do, like things to buy, eggs, cucumbers, soft drinks, and tasks to accomplish, like getting a haircut or emailing someone called Mary. You could recite it out loud until it finally sticks in your head, or you can place it inside an imagined layout in your head called a memory palace. And why exactly is this a better idea? Think of your first visit to the newly opened Sif Muharak. Without a conscious effort, you would have absorbed the building layout, the location of the shops, and will navigate your way more easily the next time you visit. The idea of the memory palace is that, like the early caveman, we are good at learning spaces, and so we should arrange our target data into a spatial form to make it easier to recall. So let's do that now with our list. We should use a memory palace that is familiar to us. Maybe our homes, our school, our workplace. But tonight, we can use one of Yat's favorite hangouts, the Chili's restaurant at sea. Place the items in order. The eggs in the parking lot, the cucumber by the door, and then the soft drinks at the first table. And finally, as you go on through the list, the email to Mary at the far corner of the restaurant. When you revisit Chili's later on, to recall the information, you will find that they are exactly where you left them. But wait, where does our creativity come into all of this? In their current form, these things, they can still be forgotten, even in our fancy little structure. In order to reinforce our memory, we need to transform them. Our minds will forget anything unremarkable. So make these images, make the images of these things vivid and engaging. Animate them. Make them exuberant. Feel their texture. Inhale their scent. Use your creativity to make them weird and wonderful, to make them unforgettable. That giant chili in front of Chili's door, replace it now with a giant cucumber. At the first table, get your Coca-Cola and your Pepsi, arguing about which of them was the better brand. And instead of emailing someone called Mary, imagine that you are sending a love letter to the tennis superstar Maria Sharapova, sitting at that far corner, looking really glamorous. From this simple list, you can progress to almost anything using the techniques described. In fact, some of these so-called memory athletes can memorize the exact order of 2 decks of playing cards shuffled. All you need is to reach the limits of your imagination. All you need to do is to be able to create stimulating, spectacular mental images out of boring words and numbers. They say about 40 days in a year are wasted trying to catch up, to recall things that slip through our minds. Learning to recall better gives us more time to create beautiful new memories. And that makes memorizing an even greater art than painting. For when we create new memories, we create new pieces of our life. Pieces that will bring a smile to our faces or wisdom to our decisions when we relive them in the future. Thank you.